What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Justin Henry here live on the Justin Henry Show, May 3rd, Wednesday. Hump Day is what they tend to call it. But here I am, all smiles, decked out in Laker gear once again, baby. The Los Angeles Lakers. Yo, game one in the Chase Center, still getting a win, baby. I'll take it as much as I can get. We got a lot to talk about with the NBA. There's some other stuff coming out too. Joel Embiid. Congratulations to Joel Embiid, 2023 NBA MVP. And I know there was a lot of questions about who should get MVP this year. Nikola Jokic was the early favorite for most of the season. We saw like Luka early in the season, Jason Tatum early in the season. But then you got, it gets down to the nitty gritty of the season and who's actually bringing their team's victory. I think we all got enamored with what Jokic was doing as a center, as a big, averaging a triple-double for most of the season. It fell off towards the end. He ended up averaging 9.8 assists on the season. But a hell of a season by Nikola Jokic, leading the Denver Nuggets to the top seed in the West. And we look at Embiid, and it's like, I think this was somewhat of a makeup MVP, but he's also well-deserved as the NBA's leading scorer, helped the Sixers become a top seed in the Eastern Conference. So shout out to Joel Embiid, who, he was crying. My man was crying when he won the MVP. Like, he actually wanted the award. Jokic was talking about, I don't care. I'm about to go swimming somewhere. Joel Embiid wanted this award. And so shout out to Joel Embiid, man. I know there's a lot of controversy over who got it, if Giannis should have been in the picture or not. But he got the award. He won it. The Sixers are a better team with Joel Embiid, and he's deserved it. He's been in the conversation at least for the last 2-3 years. So Joel Embiid, you might have shed a tear like you did in the Toronto Raptors series after Kawhi ended you, but congratulations on the 2023 MVP. Very well deserved. We'll also talk about some NFL signings, some trade rumors that were or weren't, and then also preview the games for tonight. We got a pretty good game tonight. The Celtics going up against the Sixers. Joel Embiid said, I'm back. I'm back. When he won the award, he said, I'm back. So we will get Joel Embiid tonight for the game, which the Sixers are going to need him. Obviously, we saw James Harden hit the dagger, but this team is better with Joel Embiid. There's a reason he's the MVP. So let's get into some of this other stuff, though, because my guy AD carried last night, 30 and 20. Are you serious in a playoff game? Among the elites, I got to get my boy Matt in. Matt, what's good?
What's going on, Justin? I know you're already in a good mood. I think ever since we started filming these recordings and these live shows, the Lakers just are unbelievable. I mean, I feel like more times than not, we're coming on here, we're praising the Lakers. You're in a good mood, which is a great thing for the show. But man, what a performance from Anthony Davis. I thought he had to step up. I didn't expect a 30 and 20 game in game one, though.
If there are some L's for the Lakers, this is going to be a rough show, especially for you, bro, because I'm not going to be a happy camper. And I'm going to just throw everything your way, give you a whole bunch of like debate stuff too. I'm just going to be on your cap all day. But when the Lakers are winning, it's a good show for you. It's a good show for me. And yes, man, AD, he stepped up to the plate, man, and in a major way. Like LeBron had a good game. There was some other good games from Lakers, but the way defensively that AD is going to have an impact on this series down in the lane, and then offensively as well, this team is undersized. The Warriors just don't have the bodies to keep up. The Warriors went aggressive in the draft, went and got James Wiseman, position of need, as opposed to going and getting LaMelo Ball, position of talent. And this was the kind of series where they would need a guy like James Wiseman, a 6'10", big body who can go in there and score and also defend. He didn't pan out. They had to trade him. Now enter Kevon Looney, who has cleared the first round and second round rebound-wise, averaging 17 rebounds a game over the first 8 games now in the NBA playoffs. Incredible numbers for Kevon Looney, who was, kind of an afterthought on this team for a majority of his, time with the Warriors, and now has become a prominent piece, a very prominent piece for this team rebounding-wise. It's just not enough. AD is too big. He can pull out to the outside and take Looney away from the basket. If Looney doesn't come out and guard him, he can shoot the ball extremely well. He shot at a very high clip last night. It's one of those things where I don't know if the Warriors have the answers long term. I do expect the Warriors to come out game 2 and have a lot more energy, but this Laker team is winning without the 3-ball. And when I look at it, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, if you can win without the 3-ball against the best 3-point shooting team in the league, there's a strong possibility that this series is going to get very interesting, especially, here on my Lakers side.
I was very impressed with the way like the Warriors came out hot. They put up a bunch of points early. I think they went up like 8 or 10 in the first 3 or 4 minutes. But you could tell like Anthony Davis realized like he was aggressive early on. His shots were falling. It's so interesting to me because I'm not used to seeing LeBron James play off ball this much, but he's done a great job of it and letting other players facilitate. Like that, my favorite play from the entire game was when LeBron went to the hoop and Reeves threw him the alley oop. Right, that was so awesome. Like that was such a great like play. And this Lakers team, when other players are stepping up and Anthony Davis playing like this and LeBron's doing his thing, you got to start asking the questions. Like the NBA, it's realistic. Like our guy Carter, shout out to Carter.
Shout out to Carter.
He placed an NBA Finals wager slip or whatever you want to say at the very beginning of the season. I think he put $500 on it. And after every game, he sends me a message. And I'm starting to wonder, like, this might actually happen.
It could. And you know what? Coming into the semifinals, the Lakers were like minus 1,000 to win the NBA championship. And it had like the Warriors were plus 500, the favorites to come out the West. It's like, this is going to change. I see this Warriors come, man. You're a little behind on there because you see this Laker hat, Damian. You see this Lakers hat. So I'll take game one. And game one isn't necessarily indicative of like who's going to win the series, but it's a good thing for a road team to steal home court. At the end of the day, you want to steal home court. And that's what this Lakers team did. They were able to go into Chase Center, get a win. Now, the question is, are they just a better team? And can they win game two? Because it felt like there was a sense of urgency. You heard from LeBron after the game. Game two was more important than game one. And so, obviously, if they continue to get the efforts that they got from Anthony Davis, it's going to be a long series or short series, I would say. A very short series for this Warriors team if they can't figure that part out. They had a chance at the end there, though. And we saw, Jordan Poole kind of taking that Jordan Poole shot 30 feet out. What'd you think of that when it happened?
In real time, I was like, what are you doing? But then as I watched the replay and, I think Poole had hit 6 threes already in the game.
Yeah.
I started questioning, like, if he took a dribble, like, was the closeout going to be there in time? He was open. That is a shot Jordan Poole is capable of making. Twitter was very fast to get on him for that. I don't know if you saw the memes, the GIFs, everything. It was actually pretty funny. A lot of people are comparing it to, I'm sure you've seen the Denzel Valentine clip where Denzel Valentine pulls up down 5 with like 50 seconds left. But I think it's, you saw Draymond talk about it. You saw Steve Kerr talk about it. They were all okay with it. They could live with it. Obviously it's tough when you have Steph Curry, but they were doubling Curry. Poole is open there. Yeah. And if it falls, it's a totally different story, right?
It's just crazy. Like the setup for a game-winning shot isn't like right at the 3-point line, or let me attack and try to get a 3-point play, or we get a 2, make them earn it at the line. Now it's, I'm gonna take the shot from 35 feet out, and if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. He could have positioned himself a lot better than that. Jordan Poole is capable of, hey, I see Curry's getting doubled. I can position myself in a better shot.
Yeah.
And 35 feet out is not necessarily the best shot in the world when you're trying to tie a game up. So it's just wild that that's where the NBA is at now. And in this day and age, the NBA is, hey, we're taking game-winning shots from that far out with confidence. It wasn't like he was struggling with that as well. So there's actually a podcast there, or they were watching, they were live streaming the game. Channing Frye was, and Tyrese Halliburton was on there. And they were talking about, is that Tyrese is like, what's wrong with that shot?
Yeah.
And he was like, I would take that same shot. And Channing Frye was like, that's a bad shot. You're out. You can take a step in. And Tyrese was like, no, if I was in that same position, I would take that same shot. And what Channing Frye said, he said, that's why you're here on the couch with me. He said, that's why you're on the couch with me. And it's a young mindset. It's like, I can hit that shot versus is that the best shot to take? So there's a little bit of a struggle there. Obviously, we got to talk about Joel Embiid too. I started at the top with that. Congratulations to Joel Embiid, man. Like there's a lot of guys who don't care about accolades, or they say they don't care about accolades. And then there's guys who are open about it, almost kind of begging for the award. I'd almost put him more in that position, Joel Embiid, but very well deserving of Joel Embiid to win that award.
No, it was cool to see him actually care. I like that because – as you said before, Jokic had some comments earlier in the season about the MVP, and you can tell it really means something to Embiid. I am so interested to see how, like, I thought there was no way he was going to be back for game 2. Like, all the reports that came out sounded like it was so much worse than we expected. They take game 1, which I don't know how much that plays into it. But coming off, winning the MVP, how healthy is Joel Embiid? I want to see him step up. I really do. Playoffs, I want to see him really take over here. I know we didn't talk about it, but I cannot believe. I think every time I come in here and make a prediction, just go the opposite way, because I'm like 0 for 5 now in the last 5 games. It's crazy. I cannot believe they won that game. And James Harden, you know what, man? It took me back to my childhood. Like, that looked like prime James Harden.
That's the parody of the playoffs right now, is you never know who's going to win. You never know which James Harden is going to show up. You never know which AD is going to show up. Like, we've seen a lot of parody, but for Joel Embiid to win this award and have any kind of validation, this team can't go out and just lose this series now. Like, to me, this is a must-win series for your legacy. A lot of people talk about Jokic's MVPs. And like, oh, they don't count. They don't count. He hasn't won anything yet. And I'm like, looking at Embiid, like, bro, it's your time now. Like, if you're not going to win now, you're 31 years old. You're going to start declining here at some point here in the near future. Injuries already get to you every single time you're in the league. We got to start expecting that bar to be raised a little bit more. And now you're all of a sudden back for game 2 now. Now you're back for game 2. After you won the award, you tell your teammates you're back. It's kind of strange to me. I'm not going to lie.
I know.
I like the dude, man. But if all them tears, we've been hearing Embiid cry his whole damn career, these tears better pay off. And I better see a Sixers Eastern Conference championship.
Yeah. Also, Justin, can we go back on one thing really fast? A stat that I forgot to bring up. LeBron James-led teams are 28-2 when they win the first game of the series.
28-2.
28-2. Just saying.
For the series?
For the series. When a LeBron James team wins game 1, you're looking good.
And I think we talked about this, them being able to go in and steal game 1. That's something LeBron's done in his career too. He's been able to go get one on the road. It's an important thing. And the Lakers at home are kind of tough. Like, we haven't seen them lose in the playoffs yet at home. I know they've only played Memphis, but the Warriors haven't been these all-time great road warriors themselves this entire year. So when I think Warriors, I'm like, bro, unless you're going in there and knowing you're going to steal one from LA, this series don't really smell right for the Warriors right now. It feels like they might be in panic mode this next game. So one thing I noticed on the floor for this team, the way that the Lakers are defending this right now, they're leaving Anthony Davis or whatever big is sagging off of Draymond, and they're sagging off of Kevon Looney, right? When the starting 3 is out there. So what does that leave? That leaves 3 primary scorers. You're talking about Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole. That's it. So, or Andrew Wiggins, whoever's in the game at the time. There's only 3 primary scorers. So the Lakers are playing 4-on-3 defense at worst any given point in time, because Draymond's not a threat to score. Kevon Looney's not a threat to score. He's just a rebounder. So right now, the Lakers can play. LeBron is conserving a lot of energy. You see him on Draymond. He's not really playing tough. AD's conserving energy, which allows him to have a 30-20 type game. Yeah. Unless the Warriors can put pressure on the Lakers in some other form or fashion and bring in another scorer, maybe they go Hampton 5 and they put Draymond at the 5. They're going to have to switch something up here very quickly, because I think the Lakers have figured out their size is really imposing their will on the Warriors. Moving on to the other series, though, I know we talked about Joel Embiid. I want to get into Knicks Heat, though, because if they do happen to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to play one of these teams. And the Knicks and Heat, that was a phenomenal game. It got a little sloppy there towards the end, but that was a phenomenal game. No Jimmy Butler. I think everybody in the world thought the Heat had no chance without Jimmy Butler, out with an injured ankle, expected to be back for game 2. But the atmosphere in the Garden was crazy, dude. Like, that's playoff basketball. I think the NBA has been missing that. But what a game from the Heat and the Knicks. The Knicks end up getting the win there towards the end. A lot of questionable calls there down the stretch. But what do you think about the Knicks being in such a close game with the Heat and then pulling out the win there late?
NBA basketball is better when the New York Knicks are in the playoffs. Like Madison Square Garden, I mean, it's celebrity row. Everyone's like seeing Carmelo there and all the former Knick legends was amazing. And, going into the game, Randall and Brunson were both questionable. Their game time decisions. I thought they said Jimmy Butler participated in shoot around, so I thought Butler was going to play. He gets ruled out. Randall and Brunson do play.
Yeah.
And I just kind of chalked this one up. I was like, okay, you know what? New York is going to take care of business. But guys for Miami stepped up. I mean, Caleb Martin was fantastic. I think he hit like 6 threes.
Yeah.
And they had to get I thought it was their game. They kind of lost that game towards the end of the thing. I think the Knicks went on a little run there at the end and, you know, squeaked out a victory. I imagine, you know, it's funny because they kept showing Jimmy Butler and he was like smiling after the game. I don't know if you saw a photo of him, and it's like
that demon smile.
That smile you don't want to see. Like the smile is Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
So it's going to be, you know, South Beach is going to be crazy for game 3. I imagine we see a Jimmy Butler led Miami team with a bit of intensity, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take game 3.
Well, it's smart. You know, they already stole one on the road. So you go back in and you now you take care of home court. The problem is you take care of home court. And they realize, I think this team is very competitive even without Jimmy Butler. And part of the issue with, you know, what's been going on with this Heat team so far, once Tyler Hero left, it was like, well, what else can this Miami Heat team do without Jimmy Butler? And we saw other guys step up. We've seen Kevin Love step up, Kyle Lowry step up. Gabe Vincent had a hell of a game there in the second half for the Heat in game 2. So I think we're seeing Caleb Martin, like you mentioned, he had it was 4 or 5 threes.
Yeah.
Like he's stepping up in a major way. He's had a big impact here over the last couple games. To me, I'm looking at this series as, hey, the Knicks have a lot to figure out. They can hang their hat on game 2 and getting the win there late, but there's a lot to worry about because this Heat team, man, there's a reason why they've always been in contention no matter what, no matter who's on the floor.
Yeah.
They're in contention late into the playoffs. I think it continues this year. It was really cool, though, to see some of the Knicks legends there. You know, Carmelo was there. We saw some of the other celebrities kind of step out there. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson also showing support to the Knicks. So it kind of feels like the Knicks are back. The Knicks, when the Lakers and the Knicks are in here, bro, basketball's way better.
It is.
You know when it's better when Scott Foster's not involved, though. I ain't gonna lie. Like at the end of that game, I was like, bro, like why does it always feel like when Scott Foster's involved in a playoff game, there's some controversial shit going on? Why do we always got to hear Scott Foster's name? Like you're a ref. You are a referee. How do we know you by first and last name? I can't name no other referees in the league right now but Scott Foster. And it's always some controversial calls. Like it could have went on the opposite side, Knicks, Heat. Like, but for whatever reason, it always feels like the series gets extended when Scott Foster's in.
And there is a clip that circulated on the internet, and I can't confirm that it is not. You know how it is with social media these days.
If it's on the internet, it's true.
But Josh Hart after the game, you can see him mouth the words like "Thanks, Scott," right? And he kind of looks. I don't know if we could pull that up. I don't know if anyone could. If we make this a clip or whatever. I don't know how much truth there is to this. But again, it just adds the narrative surrounding Scott Foster.
I hope that's true, but I hope it's not. Because he's saying thanks, Scott. They you know some fishy things going on. It's like, how does this guy keep getting officiating jobs when we know he was around all them calls to Tim Donaghy and all those suspicious things that were going on in the early 2000s with refs fixing games, and Scott Foster is still a primary referee here in the NBA playoffs. I can't believe it, bro. Like it shouldn't even be able. No. He should not be able to referee games like this still.
No.
Hopefully we'll see some good action there for game 3. It should be with Jimmy Butler back. Obviously going back to Miami. So D-Wade was there in the house as well in New York. We'll see Miami fired up, I'm sure. Want to get to a couple NFL things, though. Obviously, D-Hop was one of the major pieces that was rumored to be traded, at least during the NFL draft, right? He came out and said, why did I want to leave? Why would I go? D-Hop, you're lying. We saw you talk about, give the eyes to the Bills. You're talking with Von Miller. You're talking with other teams. We know, D-Hop, that you're interested in leaving. Now we're all done. D-Hop is gaslighting us. I ain't going to lie. He's gaslighting us. We know you want to move, D-Hop. So why are you sitting there telling us you don't?
I just wonder, it's so funny when an athlete makes one comment like a month before, and then the following, they say something completely different. And you're just like, there's no, like, DeAndre Hopkins, what are you doing? Like, we all know you want to leave. Like, come on, man.
DeAndre Hopkins, all-pro wide receiver, all-pro DB with the back pedal, man. He must be a good DB the way he backpedaling on them comments, bro. Like, I know, I get it. You didn't get traded, so now you got to act like everything's good. But, like, come on, bro. We know you were trying to get moved. We know you want to go play with the contender. Hopefully it still happens for DeAndre Hopkins because he's an all-world talent.
No.
and he deserves to play for a franchise that's competing for a Super Bowl. It's definitely not going to happen in Arizona. So maybe this is just to keep the trade value up, get it back boosted. But I still think that Bills thing is in the works. Another old receiver that's staying in the league, I should say, Randall Cobb. Found himself back in New York with his boy Aaron Rodgers.
I'm so
We're
surprised.
We're all shocked. We can't believe that Aaron Rodgers is getting Randall Cobb again. But like, there's a logjam at receiver for this Jets team. I think about it. Garrett Wilson. They just signed. Mecole Hardman. Obviously, just signed Allen Lazard. Corey Davis is still on the roster. Now you add Randall Cobb to the mix. I'm kind of wondering what his place is. Is it just to be a mentor? Is this a depth piece? Is the roster going to get a shakeup? Is there some pieces that are supposed to be on the move? We saw how quickly Elijah Moore got bounced out of the Jets. Do you think there's any more shakeups coming, or is this more of like a mentor veteran piece, just comfortability for Aaron Rodgers?
It's kind of giving me like Tristan Thompson on the Lakers vibes, where like they signed Tristan Thompson and it's just like LeBron's buddy.
Yeah.
Randall Cobb, I like what they got going at wide receiver. And, Randall Cobb is definitely getting up there in age. But if Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback, there's no way the Jets are signing Randall Cobb. No offense. Randall Cobb's destroyed the Bears my entire life. But
yeah,
come on now.
You mentioned like Randall Cobb kind of being like that vet piece. What the NFL needs, there might be a guy like this, but they need a guy like Udonis Haslem, whose role is just to come in and play enforcer. He's like 40 years old, but he just gets to lay a hit on somebody once per game. That's what we need. One of those guys on every team. Like, imagine Aaron Donald in year like 20, but just plays only to take out like one player on a big hit. Like, that's his only role. I think that'd be crazy, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Chris Paul in the Sun series, man, that's a big injury there for, heading back to the NBA, obviously. Chris Paul is going to be out for 3 to 5 games here for the Phoenix Suns. They're already down 2-0, and the Nuggets look like they're rolling right now. I have a lot of concern with this Suns team that I was really excited about, man. I'm not going to lie. I thought this team could come out the Western Conference. I have a lot of concern now for a team that is without Chris Paul, didn't look great with Chris Paul in there, but now has to go back to Phoenix without one of their leaders on the team, a veteran point guard. I'm kind of turning. I think this is Denver's series now, and I know this is kind of front running now. They're up 2-0, but it doesn't look good. There's no depth for the Suns team right now. Only 4 points off the bench in the first half for the Suns. It's kind of ugly.
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Cameron Payne is terrible.
You think he's terrible?
He's just, maybe it's more he just plays ugly basketball. I can't stand his shot, and it's just like, it reminds me like if you threw me into the league right now and like I was playing against
We're not comparing you to Campaign, man. We're not comparing you to Campaign.
I don't know what it is. Cameron Payne he was also on the Bulls, and he was really, really bad when he was with us, and then he got good with Phoenix. So maybe I have that against him. But this team right now, like, Durant, you bring him in. I don't think either of us. Game 2, I was pretty positive that Phoenix was going to pull that out. I really was. Like, they led for a lot of that game. Chris Paul goes down, and now you find yourself without your point guard, without your veteran, which Chris Paul, like as old as he is, come stretch time down the line, like he still is Chris Paul, and he makes great decisions. He hits big baskets, gets other guys involved. I think Denver,
3 to 5 games. And I think what this does is it forces other guys to step up. You mentioned how ugly, quote unquote, ugly. I don't think it's ugly, by the way. Campaign is damn good point guard, by the way. You mentioned how ugly this game is, but it also forces them to step up now. So now Campaign is going to be elevated into a starter role where I think this actually helps the Suns. Like, I think Chris Paul was kind of a liability defensively against Jamal Murray, who was having his way, especially game 1. Having his way against this team. Now I look at him like, there's a little bit of youth that can stick with Jamal Murray now. There's a little bit more youth on the court without Chris Paul. They're missing some leadership, but this team already has KD, Devin Booker, so the leadership is there on the court. I kind of think this has a different factor on this team. Like, there's a chance that I think it helps out the Suns. There's a chance that I think they can get both games at home. And this thing's going back to Denver 2-2, and there will be a predicament because Chris Paul will probably be ready by then or game 6. So if he's out this series, I might actually still be a Suns guy on this one. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I kind of think it's a blessing in disguise because it's gonna force everybody else to level up. You got guys like Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie, they're playing well. DeAndre Ayton hasn't been playing that well. Now this team needs him. It's not like he's the fourth option. He now is elevated to the third option. I hope we see a better version of the Suns team because when I look at the Nuggets, are they the best team in the West? Like, do you think they're the best team in the West right now?
They can make the case for it. I mean, I still think I would like a healthy Suns team. I still like better than the Nuggets, but they continue to prove me wrong on the series to series basis. And it's funny because, watching that Minnesota series, I was actually more confident with Phoenix going in than I was before the playoffs even started. Like, I really thought they had a shot here. Also, I want to bring something up. So if Durant, let's say they got swept here. Let's say they lose game 3 and 4, right? Okay. Durant has been swept in back-to-back series in the playoff, like in last year and this year. Does that do anything to his legacy? Like, does that affect things at all to you or not really?
Hell no, because I don't think because the reason why I don't think Kevin Durant's legacy is even tied to winning at this point.
Okay.
He got the 2 rings that nobody counts for the Warriors. So now when we look at this, Kevin Durant's legacy is solely tied to his offensive capabilities. The fact that he can get whatever shot that he wants, the fact that he changed the game, the fact that he's a 30-point scorer with ease, because he's not the greatest champion. He's not the greatest winner. He doesn't have the greatest track record of producing winning results. What he does have is the fact that he's probably the hardest person to defend in league history, scoring-wise, and that you can't do anything with his 6'11", 195-pound frame. Like, that's what it is. Yeah. So his legacy, I think KD, whether he gets another championship or not, pretty much is etched in stone as like one of the greatest scorers to ever play the game. Now, would another championship help his case? Yes. I think that would help him, maybe move him up a spot or two. But a loss of sweet losses in playoffs, at this point for KD, I think he's already kind of cemented who he is as a player. So it's a good question, though. Like, when you start to think about it, because the Warriors-Lakers series is such a legacy series.
Yeah.
Like, Steph Curry needs to get number 5 without KD. LeBron needs to get number 5 on this Laker team. Like, there is a lot of legacy to be had. And I know this has probably been thrown out in the media for the last however long since the series was announced. But this truly is one of those series where we're going to rank LeBron higher or lower based on if he gets his championship. Steph Curry can now enter the top 10 category with another championship, and it's solely being on his back. We saw the 50-point performance. There already talks of him being the GOAT point guard, taking over Magic Johnson. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, you know what, KD, this ain't really legacy for you, but LeBron, Steph, this really is legacy for you. You know who else I think this really has an impact? And it's the 2 guys we already talked about, Jokic and Embiid.
Yeah.
Because if both of these guys can't get past the conference finals, their MVPs are for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree.
One of the comments came in and said, would you rather have the career of Robert Horry or Kevin Durant? Give me Kevin fucking Durant all day. All day. I'll take the MVPs. I'll take the 2 snake championships in Golden State. But you know what? Robert Horry does have championships in his bag. He can always say that he's a champion. But Kevin Durant can always say he's one of the greatest players of all time. There's something to be said about that. We have a good stat on Scott Foster here. I'm going to try to bring it up for you guys. But Scott Foster, man, he's one of those people that you just like, how the hell do you keep, like, I legit keep thinking about Scott Foster and how he keeps getting opportunities, because to me, I'm like, bro, there's no way you should be reffing these games. Here's a Scott Foster moment right here. I don't know if you guys can see the screen well, but from Action Network, I'm going to get out of this. Anyone riding with the Knicks -6. This is from yesterday. Scott Foster is the referee for tonight for the Heat Knicks. With Scott Foster officiating, the team who loses game 1 is 21-12 against the spread in game 2. Things that make you go, Home teams are 110-72 against the spread over the last 3 seasons with Foster, including 42-23 against the spread this season. Matt, what the hell?
There's no way we should be talking about officiating stats right now. Like, that just should not be a thing. Like, and only Scott Foster, right?
Only Scott Foster, bro. But It is what it is, man. And at the end of the day, we got to ride with the rest that they got. He's got his job. We've got ours. And ours is to play Daily Dozen because the champ is here. We got to go 12 for 12. It's time to do it, baby. It's been a minute since we did it. And I think last time we went 6 for 12. 6 for 12. So
I am a little scared, though, since there's only one game. Like, they're going to throw us some crazy curveballs here, I feel like.
There might be some crazy. But you know what? That's what we do, man. That's what we do. We have to
occasion.
We got to rise up.
Rise.
Boston's team total is sitting at 113.5 points tonight. Matt, we're expecting Joel Embiid to be back for this game, and this is obviously a must-win situation for the Celtics. In the Celtics last game, they had 115 points. The Sixers put up 119, so it's 119, 115. I think 113. We always talk about Embiid and his offense coming back, but defensively, he can have an impact as well. I'm leaning over with this one, though. I think the Celtics go in. They probably get the win tonight. I'm going to roll with the over.
I cannot believe the Celtics lost when they shot 59% from the field. Like, that is ridiculous.
59%. You still barely put up 115 against the Sixers team. I'm still going with the over.
Let's go over.
Feel good about it. Next up, we got Philly's total sitting at 102.5. Wow, that's a low total. We got 115 really for the Celtics and 102 for the Sixers. I think we got to take the over on that one. That seems like easy money, man. Player we haven't talked about yet in this series who needs to really step up, Jason Tatum. He needs to have a big game tonight. This is one of those moments, and we haven't really talked a lot about Jason Tatum. They were kind of under the radar playing the Hawks there. It was almost felt early on like that series was nothing we needed to talk about, and then Hawks made it interesting. But Tatum, man, he had a lot of MVP, talk early on in the season. It really dropped off. How do you think he plays tonight?
I think he's going to go over 29.5. I think he had like 38 or 39 points in game one.
39 points game one.
He had that costly turnover at the very end, which hurt them big time. But I think 29, I think that's a safe number to assume he'll put up 30.
Yeah, I got 32. And, one player who did step up, James Harden, whose point total sitting at 24.5. Bro, vintage James Harden dropping 45. You love to see it. But will it continue with Joel Embiid back? I think he still carries the load this game. Now, Joel Embiid will be back, and obviously he said I'm back infamously on, after winning the MVP. But which version are we getting? Are we getting hampered, limited minutes, Joel Embiid? I think James Harden knows he has to take on a little bit more scoring role. Let's go with the over on that.
Going the over? Okay, I like it.
Let's go with the over. Now, you talked about Jason Tatum in his 39-point game, Matt. Jaylen Brown sitting on the board here, 24.5 points. This feels like a very, very tight line.
Yeah, this is really tight. And when I looked at the box score after the game, I saw that Brown only took like 10 shots. And I think he was like 7 or 8, or he shot really well from the field, but he wasn't nearly as aggressive as we're used to. I'm going to go with the over here. I think Tatum hits over, or excuse me, Brown hits over 24.5.
Let's go. Let's go with the over then, baby. I like going with the overs. I feel like the overs give you some hope. The unders feel like you're hating a little bit,
And also, if we're gonna watch the game, right, you don't want to root for the under.
We gotta root for the over, baby. Now, one player I might go under on, Tobias. Easy to hate, right?
Oh, Rob.
The perfect segue. All overs. Tobias Harris. Let's stop the positivity train here. Go straight to hating with Tobias Harris, who's sitting at 16.5 points. I think I'm going under on this.
Let's go
Especially
under, yeah.
Joel Embiid's back, and I get it. The spacing might be a little bit better this game for him, but defensively, the Celtics handle business, especially against wings. Give me the under with Tobias Harris. Al Horford. We're going to rebounds now. Horford.
Oh, no.
Big Horf. Total sitting at 6.5 boards, and Al Horford has never been like this big rebounding guy. I don't expect it to continue this series. What about you?
Yeah, let's go under. This seems like a really tight number too, though. I feel like it's
5 or 6.
Yeah, let's go under though.
5 or 6. Now, a guy who does rebound the hell out the basketball, Rob Williams, aka the Time Lord, sitting at 7.5 rebounds. Let's go over.
Let's go over. If we're gonna go under on Horford, I feel like we should go over on Williams.
I want to go over because I think they're going to need him a little bit more against Embiid.
Yeah.
I think they went a little bit smaller when Embiid was not on the floor last game. They'll need Robert Williams in a major way in this game, today. Give me Robert Williams. I think he sees more minutes than he did in game 1. Derek White with the infamous hair. Did you ever see that?
That was the best clip ever from
I feel bad for him, man. I'm like, genetics sometimes it just don't work in your favor. And then we got the TNT crew, Charles Barkley and Shaq, just laughing at you for a good 3 to 4 minutes about your hairline, talking about Stephen A. Smith. I feel bad for the guy, bro.
And that was after he had a great performance. Like no one was talking about his game; they were just talking about his hair.
Like he's in the presser and he's playing well, and then they're like, "Oh, look at Stephen A. Smith on here." They just go roasting on this guy's hairline. Like, bro, why does it matter that much? Anyway, Derek White. Here we are talking about it. Derek White, total 3-pointers made 1.5. He went 0 for 4 last game.
He's been good in the playoffs. I'm gonna take the over. Take the over. Let's go over.
I'm riding with you. Over.
Let's go over.
I don't feel confident in it, but I'm riding with it.
You got the next one then.
I got the next one. All right. Malcolm Brogdon. No, Nick has the next one. We're going to give my guy Nick in
here. Get Nick in here.
Nick's got to get the next one. And we got to talk about the Knicks with him too real quick when he's on. Malcolm Brogdon is sitting at 1.5 3-pointers made. Speaking of Nick, there he is. Nick Durst. Shout out to the producer in the back. How you living, dog?
I'm doing well because the Knicks won, but not doing too well because they barely won without your guy playoff Jimmy Butler. So very important moving forward here.
I'd be concerned if I was a Knicks fan too. You got Nick in your name, so you might be taking L's too, bro. But we can't take any more L's on the champions here, bro. We playing this daily dozen. We need a hit. We need a major hit. Last time I faded your pick and you were right. I know you're right now. But 1.5 threes, Malcolm Brogdon. Let me know which way we're going.
I'm going to go over just because the volume of shot attempts is probably going to be there. So by that theory,
last game, so it's looking good.
I think he's going to take a few, like at least 4 or 5 threes, like everybody does now. And everyone's taking 8, 9, 10 threes a game. They're making 2 or 3. So I don't know. That's just the way the playoffs have been going. Everyone's shooting the 3 and missing like crazy, but some of them are bound to go in, right? It's pretty
right. Well, they'll need the scoring, and they'll need him off the bench too. So I think Malcolm Brogdon hitting 2 threes doesn't seem out the realm of possibilities. Tyrese Maxey sitting at 2.5 threes. Now with Joel Embiid back, this game's going to look a little bit different for the Sixers. But Tyrese Maxey's been playing, lights out here over the playoffs. 2.5 threes. He had 2 last game, so it's right on the number. He'd have to hit 3 threes to break this. I'm kind of leaning under. How y'all feeling? I'm leaning under.
I'm going under.
I'm gonna go under.
Under. Shit, we all on the under. We riding together. Wolfpack.
I love it.
Like the movie Hangover. Wolfpack. Y'all remember that movie, The Hangover? That was a good movie, man.
I thought your LA trip was going to go, honestly.
It kind of did that first night when we were in the draft. It felt like it was leading up to a lot of stuff that I would regret, but it did not. It ended up being a good trip, and even though I don't like getting hammered like that on stream, I ain't gonna lie, but it was good times with the Champions Round crew, man. Marcus Smart, last one, total 3-pointers made 1.5. Marcus Smart, man, one of those players who. During the game, you love him, and then there's certain moments where you're like, Marcus Smart, why are you on the court right now? 1.5 threes. Which way we riding, guys? I'm leading this one up to you.
Nick, what do you think?
I'm going to go over because it's such a low number, and I think somebody's got to step up here because Jason Tatum, he's not been stepping up. So I'm going to say there's going to be some more opportunities for Marcus Smart with the ball in his hands. So we'll go with 2 threes for Marcus Smart.
Let's go Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart over 2 threes. You riding with it, Matt?
Let's do it.
Let's book it. Guys, and if you want to play Daily Dozen with us, head over to the Champions Round app. You guys can play Daily Dozen too. We're literally going through the picks right now. You can see them. We just made all the picks. And guess what we're also going to do? We're going to upgrade and go paid, bro. I believe in this team. I believe in us. Allow all using the app. We win, baby. Let's go. Locked it all in. So here we are. We got our Daily Dozen done. We got winners. Nick, appreciate you, dog, coming in. Letting us get your advice and your winning picks. I already know they're winning, dog. Matt, my man, any parting thoughts before we get off tonight? We're going to be off the stream tomorrow and then back on Friday as well. Any parting thoughts heading into the game tonight or into this next couple days?
Not really. Just excited to see how the playoffs pan out. I feel like you just, at this point in time, you really have no idea who's going to show up, and anyone can really win, right?
Anybody can win. We're seeing that. Like, I think the fact that we have a 1 through 8 seed still left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that's
cool.
crazy in itself that we have every single seed represented in the playoffs right now. It really does let you know the parity that's in the league. We got upsets happening all over the place. We got an 8 seed with the lead right now in a series, a 7 seed with this a series lead right now. So anything can happen in this NBA playoffs. We do have to cover a little bit more NFL. There will be some news coming out. Obviously, a lot of fifth-year options are getting picked up today. So or decline. This is the day to do it. Jordan Love got extended out another year, not the fifth-year option, but at least secures the fact that he's going to be there with the Packers. So we'll talk about some fifth-year options after everything's finalized today. And then also the NFL schedule comes out next week too.
Ooh,
so
that'll be fun. That'll be dicey. Okay.
That'll be a very, very fun show because I think we'll be on like as a lot of the schedules being released. So we'll get some inside stuff going there, but that does it for today's episode. Make sure you guys subscribe to the page, follow along, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.